All right, welcome back to another video. I apologize for this strange light behind me. I don't usually film videos this early in the day, so sun is just beaming in behind me. So please forgive me for that. But today I want to walk you through my formula for solving problems. Okay, this is something I actually thought about this morning as I was thinking about what to film today. If you watched my video yesterday, I posted about a problem I ran into where my Google My Business account was temporarily turned off, right? This was a problem that I had to solve. And so it had me kind of thinking about the framework I use to solve problems. Now, I am a small business owner. I own a therapy practice, so a group practice. This methodology is going to be helpful for anyone who wants to solve problems, right? And so I'm going to give you some examples from my own small business, some problems I've encountered, and then the formula I use to solve problems, all right? And just to kind of put it out there right now, there are a couple of steps to this formula. The first one is to clearly identify what the problem is, all right? The second one is to become an expert on that particular problem, on that issue. All right, and we're going to walk through an example in just a second. And then after you become an expert, and I don't mean becoming like not getting a PhD in the problem, right? But yes, just researching the problem. And we're going to go into the details in a moment. After you become an expert, you then want to consult an actual expert. All right, someone who is knowledgeable about that particular problem. You want to then implement what you've learned about the problem. Maybe it's something you need to do. Maybe it's just something you now know. And then you actually want to get into the habit of revisiting problems because maybe you need to look at it from a fresh perspective, or maybe things change, that kind of thing. All right, so identify the problem, become an expert about the problem, consult an actual expert about the problem, implement solutions, and then revisit from time to time. All right, now let's walk through an example. So in my line of work as a group practice owner, a therapy practice owner, I started a group practice a while back, and I quickly encountered this problem of getting or of hiring therapists who are provisionally licensed while also being able to accept insurance. All right. Now, if you're a therapist watching this and you want to know more about that, this is called incident to billing. There's a video. I'll leave a link down below. This video is not about that, but if you're hearing that and you're like, hey, I want to know about that, go down below. There's a video for you. But the problem I encountered was hiring LMSWs, or provisionally licensed therapists, while still allowing them to take insurance. I ran into this barrier because I was starting to find out that a lot of insurance panels don't allow provisionally licensed therapists to take insurance. They don't even allow them to get credentialed, right? And so I knew that if I hired people in order to help them get filled up, in order to be an accessible practice, you want all your providers to be able to take insurance, right? And my initial thought was that it would be easy, just get them paneled. I run into the problem, realizing I can't just get the LMSWs paneled, so now we have a problem. All right, and so what exactly is that problem? How did I identify that problem? Now you can look at this from a few angles, but the angle I looked at it from, the problem number one, like the overarching problem, and I guess you could frame it either as a problem or you can frame it as what you're hoping to do. What I wanted to do was to have a therapy practice that has LMSWs, right? Because I want to teach, I want to supervise. LMSWs need experience, right? They need a place to work, obviously. So I wanted to provide that environment. And I also wanted to provide care that was accessible. And that means taking insurance. So that's what I wanted to do. And then if you go down even further, the problem was that not all insurance providers, not all insurance panels allow LMSWs to be credentialed, right? So now we've identified those things. The next thing I needed to do was to become an expert on this issue, all right? Now, again, when I say become an expert, this is not totally exhaustive, but what I'm basically saying is you want to research this problem thoroughly, Okay, I don't mean like a couple of minutes. I don't just mean one Google search. I mean extensive research about the problem, right? So what did I do? I ended up going on, of course, you do use Google. So I Googled all of this, right? And I searched for a long time to find a bunch of different answers and responses to the problem. And you start to find all sorts of things. I was hearing some people say it's not allowed at all. And then I was finding that some people do this in their practices, right? They're able to get LMSWs paneled. And then I would try to figure out why. I would go down further. If I found someone who said they were able to do it, I would research that. If someone said they weren't able to, I would research that. So Google searching. I was looking at all sorts of blogs. I went on Facebook. I was asking questions in private practice forums. I was reaching out to colleagues. I was reaching out to insurance companies. I was looking at insurance company websites. I was just trying to figure out as much as I could about insurance paneling and LMSWs or provisionally licensed therapists. I was just scouring the internet, asking people, right? And and over time, what starts to happen is you start to develop a solid understanding of the problem, right? And you start to develop an understanding of actually what you can do. Are there solutions? Are there ways of actually doing this? And over time, I started to realize, there's what's called incident to billing, right? There's supervisory billing. And then I started to research that. I started to go down that rabbit hole. Right now, you're not going to spend months and years on these things, but by the end of this process, this was probably weeks, right, of weeks of thorough research. I started to learn about incident to billing, supervisory billing. I was comfortable about what, I knew what that was as I researched that. And so your research then makes you an expert, right? And I don't mean that you can go ahead and teach people about it or that you can go ahead and call yourself an expert, but I'm using this word expert to just highlight that you're now well informed, right? You are someone who's done their research. Now from there, what I typically do is once I feel like I have some sort of grasp on the problem, potential solutions, I then consult with an actual expert, right? In this example, it would be an attorney, right? So I went to an attorney and I said, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And then what actually happened was they shared with me, their expertise in incident to supervisory billing. This was an attorney who works with therapists in private practice. And what ended up happening is they ended up confirming that the research and my thoughts about the process and what the solution was were actually accurate, right? So I went in to that consultation with the expert with my own knowledge and my own research, and I said, this is the problem, this is what I think I should do, and they pretty much confirmed that, and then of course filled in my gaps of knowledge with their expertise, right? And so that is usually what you want to do. Become your own expert and then consult the actual expert to either confirm or change or fix the research you've done and the thoughts that you've brought to the table. A lot of people skip that research step. What they end up doing is just finding a problem, going straight to an expert, which is, you can do that, but then all of your confidence rests on the expert that you've consulted. I've always found that when I do my own research, your confidence then actually falls with you because you've done your research and you've confirmed that research with an expert. This has been really, really helpful for me. And this is something I do with all of the problems I encounter, right? It might look different. We have to be somewhat flexible with this framework. For some problems, it might be really quick, right? For some other issues like this one, it takes a while to feel comfortable with it, right? So we've now talked about identify the problem, become an expert, consult an expert, and then what you want to do is implement, right? So in this example, after consulting the attorney, I realized that supervisory billing and incident to billing were ways that I could hire LMSWs and still take insurance in the practice. And I found out how to do it. And so I started to implement that practice in my group practice, right? And it works. It works just fine. And so again, implementation is one of the final steps, right? Now, even there though, when we implement, it's probably the first time we're doing it, especially if it's, the first time we're trying to solve this problem. And then so once we implement, we then want to kind of see if any new problems emerge, right? And that's where I add this step of revisiting. Right. So once we implement, we're going to work out the kinks. We're going to try to figure out, exactly how we implement this smoothly. And what we want to do from there is then we want to revisit that. So every so often, I'm just making sure that the way I'm doing incident to billing or supervisory billing is still accurate. And that's because sometimes things change, or sometimes I learn something new, or I realize that perhaps my first round of research was not perfect, right? And so in this example, as I revisit incident to billing or supervisory billing, I'm still continuing to do it correctly. But again, I revisit every so often. And I do this again with all the problems I encounter. And this doesn't just, this is not just limited to work, right? This can be used for any kind of issue that you might be dealing with. Now, I think if you use this framework, you'll feel really confident in the conclusions you come to, into the practices you end up, deploying in your practice or in your job, your small business. And that's because this methodology helps you become your own expert, confirming it with an actual expert, and then implementing. If you follow this method, not only will you be more confident, but you'll be able to help other people as well more confidently. Overall, this framework has been tremendous for me in my own small business. It's really helped me be able to teach other people. And overall, it helps me to feel more more confident in the decisions I make day to day in my small business. That's all I wanted to share with you today. I hope you found this helpful. If you like these kinds of videos and you want to know more about small business, private practice, I guess this is more of people in private practice therapy. If you want to go deeper into these topics, feel free to join my consultation group. That's a place where you can ask me any question. I respond to every question directly. I also post webinars in that community as well. I'll leave a link to that down below in the description. Other than that, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. That was mumbled. And I will see you in the next video.